Hello everyone, this is Dee, and as I always do, I'm going to start out by saying I'm sorry in advance because I'm sure I'm going to piss somebody off with what I have to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. Today I just watched one of the latest installments of The Advice Show TV from Mr. Phil. And when I watched it, I was looking at it and I was thinking to myself, really, dude? That's all that just kept going through my mind. Really? So I guess you against black folks now. So, I'm just, what I don't understand is why are we busting our butts to tell half truths about black people? You know, from where I come from, when you tell a half truth, that's basically telling a lie. You know, it really ticks me off that people have the nerve to say I'm pro-black. I'm pro-black. I'm pro-black family, pro-black, black on black relationships, black having black children, encouraging the black community. However, when it's convenient and to divert attention from yourself and the fact that you're not pro-black and the fact that you are living a lifestyle that is what they term swirling, you want to start pointing out negatives about black people. you know and I don't have any problem with that. Don't get me wrong, because in the black community we need to address the black community issues so that we can build ourselves up to that standard of pro-black, which means you're for the growth and development of the black community as a cohesive unit. Now, that's the meaning of pro-black. It doesn't mean that we put down and tear down and point out and, mistreat everybody else. It just simply means that we love ourselves and we're encouraging the growth and the cohesion and the development of black people. So let's get that straight, because I hear a lot of people saying they're pro-black, but if you look at the definition of pro-black doesn't have anything to do with being against another race. It simply means that you're down for your own race and you want to encourage your own race. You want to build up your own race. You want to fortify your own race. Now, from what I understand, because if you've crossed the line, if you're the type of person who's dated outside, the black community, if you've married outside the black community, if you believe in this type of interaction and exchange, you're not considered to be pro-black. And I'm not here to argue that. Actually, that'll be a topic for another day, because I'm not going to sit here and call myself pro-black. Not saying that I'm not for the black community. I'm 100% for the black community. I love the black community, and I desperately want us to come together as a cohesive unit. However, there are some things that we need to deal with in the black community first before we can point our fingers at anybody who jumps ship and leaves the black community and goes to another camp, another community, trying to find themselves in that other community. There are a lot of things that we need to address in our own community first. And often they don't get addressed. There are a lot of things that we're not addressing. And because we're not addressing a lot of the hurts and the pains and the sufferings of our brothers and sisters are choosing to go somewhere else. Now, me, myself, I don't feel like I'm equipped to judge anybody's choices. I don't feel like that's what God created us for. As a matter of fact, in his word, he told us not to judge one another. Because while we sitting around trying to judge somebody else, we got skeletons pushed all the way in the back of our closet, hid. So I feel like instead of trying to judge people, we need to try to understand what causes people to make the choices that they make. And as I stated, that will be a topic for another day, because that requires a lot of research and it requires solid facts, because I hear people saying stuff that's not true, that's not factual. And the reality is that when you don't say stuff that's true and factual, you're lying. You're manipulating and you're deceiving people. And that's the reason why there's so many problems in our community, because we've had so many people stand up and say, I'm going to lead you, I'm going to shepherd you, and I'm going to help direct you in a direction. And they stood up with lies. Those lies became ingrained, and we carry those lies around with us today. And that's the reason why black people are at each other all the time. So before I even go into that whole section, because that's a long subject. That's a very long subject to deal with. Black love, black acceptance, the fact that black people want to love one another, but maybe they don't even know how. Maybe they haven't been taught. And because if you're at home and people tell you that you are bad, you're gonna be in trouble, you're gonna be no good like your daddy, you're not gonna be any good like your mama, you're not gonna amount to anything. When you start out telling kids that, what do you expect? When that child grow up and they look back and they see all of the negativity that was dished at them from the time that they were children, then when they become an adult and they decide that they want to go somewhere else where people are patting them on the back, I'm sorry, but we need to look at that. We need to look at that deeply rooted hurt and pain and ignorance and maltreatment that we have instituted on ourselves as a people before we can even talk about why people are jumping off a so-called, firmly connected ship with no holes in it, or why people are jumping and leaving camp when their camp provides them everything that they need. So why did they leave? As I stated, that's a big subject. We're gonna get back to Phil though. So when I was watching the subject on the Phil show, rude customer treatment, African immigrant less than human. And the rude customer that he was talking about was a black man. Now, I don't agree with the way that the man treated the African guy, because honestly, from what I saw, it didn't look like the guy he was a security guard. It didn't look like the security guard was giving him a hard time. That's what we saw. But let's look at a couple of things. Now, we know that anytime there's a recording, there may be bits and pieces that we don't see. And if there's a part of that recording that we didn't see, like for instance, if he was walking around looking, doing whatever, and this guy kept following him, that would be the reason why he went off on him and, started acting a little bit crazy towards the man. Nobody wants to be followed around in the store, especially when they're not doing anything wrong. We had to deal with that for a long time, especially back in the I would say back before the 2000s. And even today in some communities, it's prevalent. When you walk into a store, people walk around behind you like you're going to steal something. And I don't care what anybody say. If I'm coming into your store, don't walk behind me like I'm going to steal something. I get it. I understand people do that. But every black person that come in your store is not going to steal something. That's not appreciated. And it's not necessary. So if that man was doing that, if that African security guard was walking behind this man, acting like he was going to steal something, he had every right to have an attitude. We were not there. We don't know the context of that video. All we saw was this black guy going off on an African guy, an African security guard. That's all we saw. Because we were not there, we shouldn't even speak on that. It doesn't make sense to speak on something when we really don't know 100% what happened. And it really gets on my nerves. Somebody like Phil, who already has controversy because he's married to what we believe is a white woman. And because he's lied, and it's been proven. Cynthia G was just talking about the other day. She went back into some tweets that he sent out where he said that his wife was part Native American, part black. Okay, well, you told a lie because you said that this woman was black. So you misled people into believing. Now, this is allegedly. If this is true, you misled people into believing that this woman was part black because you wanted the black community to accept her. But that was a lie. Unless you go get a DNA test that shows that she has black African in her, sub-Saharan African, some type of something that shows that she's got African in her, nobody's gonna believe you because you've been proven to be a liar. And once you lie, people don't really trust you. They don't really trust what you're saying. So for you to try to deflect your own personal issues with the fact that you're supposed to be this pro-black man, and you get on top of people's heads and tell them they shouldn't be dating and being in interracial relationships, but then you got an interracial relationship, sir, you are a fraud, and I'm calling you out today. You are a big fat fraud. Don't bring black people into your drama. Don't bring black people into your mess because you got found out. It has been a long-standing problem that when black people go into stores, you have folks walking around spying on them like they gonna steal something. Nobody likes that. Nobody likes for someone to treat them like they're a thief when all they're doing is walking around trying to figure out what they want to get. Even if that person doesn't buy anything, as long as the store doesn't have a no loitering sign on it, or basically not even loitering, because that's not loitering. You can go into a store thinking you're going to get something, not see what you want, and decide, oh, well, I don't see it, I'm leaving. But you don't know until you get there. But it is uncomfortable and demeaning for someone to walk around behind you or around you, or you, like, say, for instance, you go down one aisle, you go up an aisle, you see this person. You go down one aisle, you go up an aisle, you see this person. You go down one aisle, you go up an aisle, and there that person is again. The average person is going to be, the average consumer is going to be, okay, wait a minute, I done seen you too many times. I know sometimes when I go into Walmart, if I go down an aisle and I see a person too many times, I get to feeling some kind of way. And that person could be another customer. I feel like they following me. And I don't know why. It's just a weird sensation. It's like, okay, every time I look up, I see you. Why are you following me? And it's just, it's something that I can't help. But nobody wants someone to be walking around monitoring them, acting like they're going to steal. And for you to take this and take it out of context, and then you got your people on your page making comments about it, y'all all false. First of all, any black person that made a comment on that and you don't have the full story, you wrong, you fake and false and phony. Because guess what? If it was you and somebody was following you, you would have an attitude to please stop playing. Please stop playing. Stop playing. Ugh. I'm so sick and tired of all of these folks going, oh my God, I can't believe they did that. Girl, boo. Boy, bye. I get so sick and tired. I'm sorry. In a professional capacity, I know how to be professional. But when it comes to some mess, I know how to be messy too. Come on now, please. I'm so sick. I'm so sick and tired of people using us as an excuse to deflect the attention off of them. It is absolutely ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. Please. Come on now. I just want to know one thing. Why is it that all of a sudden Phil is trying to call out black folks who make negative comments about Africans? Okay, that's one question. Why are you so quick to bash black people over the head when it's convenient to you, Mr. Phil from The Advice Show TV? Why is that okay? And why is that all of a sudden the very people who have supported you, now you want to bash them over the head? Please, please. Oh, Jesus, help us. Help us. Help him, Lord, because he needs your help. He's full of crap. You know, I left the comment because when I saw that, I was just like, no, this is garbage. And then when I saw all of those comments that people were making, saying stuff like, that's the person that we need to get rid of. Those are the type of people, just real stupid comments. When I saw those comments, I was just like, come on, y'all. Like, y'all haven't never gone into a store. If you are over the age of 20 and you have never gone into a store and somebody walked around behind you and you looked at them like, why are you following me? Come on, you don't have no right to say a word, period. Point blank, exclamation point. Now, let's get on to something. I'm going to break down my comment because I left the comment because I've interacted with African people. So I feel like I'm qualified to speak on this issue in an unbiased manner. Okay? So I left the comment. I have personally traveled to Africa. I lived and engaged with people who are from different African countries. In 2012, I went to Nigeria. I've also gone to Germany. So I was actually in Nigeria where everybody looked like me. And that was an awesome experience to be around people who all look like me. I didn't hardly see any. I can't even remember seeing a white person or any other nationality of person when I was in Nigeria. So that was an awesome experience. But I learned a lot too. I learned a whole lot. And it wasn't something that I just learned from my trip to Nigeria. I learned a lot about Nigerian people because I believe in studying people and studying cultures and habits of people before I interact with them. Because first of all, I don't want to offend anybody. That's number one. Number two, I want to know about the people I'm dealing with. Now, I'm not just speaking about Nigerians, because I used to live in Dallas, Texas, and when I tell you there is a huge African culture, there's a huge African community, not African American, I'm talking about African community, people from different countries on the continent of Africa. There is a huge African community in Dallas, Fort Worth Metroplex. And I lived there for 12 years. I've worked with a lot of people from different countries. And I've spoken with them and gotten their feedback. When you work with people and you speak with them and you get their feedback, not the feedback of Phil from The Advice Show, who is a biased person, who is not a truthful person, who is a liar and a proven deceiver, then you get real facts that you can speak on, and you're not just speaking out your behind, telling half truth, or as we know, lies. I wrote on his comment section, you are not telling the whole truth about the African-American relationship. The reason we can't build bridges is that people like you, Phil, tell half-truths. Not every person from Africa has a positive view of African Americans. They see drugs, hip-hop culture, and other negatives portrayed by the media, and quite a few of them place no value in us, in African Americans, because they believe what they see on TV. Now, this is the truth. This is not me saying what I think I know. This is me saying what I've heard people from different countries in Africa, not one country, but different countries, multiple countries. This is what I have heard people say out of their own mouth. And then when they come in contact with black people, and then they're like, wow, okay, I'm surprised because, in my country, black people are portrayed this way. You know what I'm saying? So they have a view of us before they even have a chance to meet us. And then when they meet us, maybe their view changes, maybe it doesn't. But they have a whole nother view of us before they even get a chance to meet us. So you have some people coming from straight from Africa, from different countries in Africa, with different worldviews of African Americans. And they believe that we are ignorant. They believe that, some of them believe that we're ungrateful. Some of them believe that we are lazy. Some of them believe that we don't take care of our families, that we don't have a sense of pride, that we don't care about ourselves. You know, there are a lot of beliefs floating around out there about African American people. And this is coming from people who are coming to the United States of America from the continent of Africa. Not all in the same place, from different areas, different countries. So before you talk about how African Americans, Black people, interact with Africans, you need to get a very unbiased opinion and a broad range of understanding of how people think and view one another before you speak on that topic, because you, sir, just basically threw Black people under the bus. And you're wrong for that. Because you don't know what somebody else's experience may have been. You don't know what that man who shot that video's experience may have been with other Africans. He might have come in contact with somebody that was condescending to him or treated him as if he was beneath them. Because yes, there are some of them that come over here with that attitude like they are badder, bigger, and better than us. Especially when you look at some not clans, but some tribes, because you have some people that come from tribes where they have like a little position. They may be considered, honestly, be considered a chief's son, a prince, or something like that in their tribe. So when they come here, they look at us like we're peasants. So before you make before you put your little 2 cents on something, you need to do a little better research and get a more unbiased understanding of the interactions between African Americans and Africans. And then you need to break it down and try to look at what countries they're coming from, because people have different views depending on their religion, depending on their country, depending on a lot of things. There are a lot of social, economical views. There are a lot of environmental views based on how they grew up, societal views based on how they grew up, what happened in their neighborhood, what happened in their cities. Because even in the city and in the little townships, the little towns and the big cities, people's views are completely different in Africa, in different countries in Africa. So before you sit up there and make a sweeping statement, before you sit up there and behave like a racist and make a sweeping stereotypical statement, you need to do a little better research. And with this huge platform that you have, that looks like exactly like I think her name was Dr. Mumbai. It looks like y'all might be affiliated with each other, the Advice Network. It looks like y'all might be affiliated with each other. Before you do a statement, you should do some research so that you can make a qualified statement and not just make a broad, sweeping, nonsensical statement that is damaging a community that's already suffering, a community that's already struggling. I'm not going to sit back. If I hear it, I'm not going to sit back and not say anything about it. I'm going to put my 2 cents on it, whether you like it or not. Somebody need to pull your coattails, sir, because you are out of control. This is another statement I made. You need to learn to stop telling half-truths. Like when you lied on a historically Black college, Howard University, to make yourself look like a victim. Phil and Lovely T, 2002, were trespassing and did not go through the proper protocol to be on Howard University's campus, and were promptly escorted out of a school-sponsored event. See, what I found, from you, sir, Phil, from The Advice Show, what I found is that because the heat has gotten thick on you, you want to deflect attention away from yourself. Just like this, and I watched that video I watched the video, and the way you carried yourself on that video was absolutely ridiculous. You behaved as if somebody owed you something. Sir, nobody owes you anything. Nobody owe you anything. You got to earn whatever respect it is that you think you deserve. You got to earn it just like the rest of us. Now, if you don't ask permission to do a thing, then you should be escorted away from events, away from other people's premises. If somebody walked up on your premise at your house and walked up in your house, you would promptly escort them out your house. So, I mean, you can't sit around here and try to play the victim and then try to use the issues that we as black people suffer today as an excuse for the things to cover up what you've done wrong. Because that's what I see. This is my opinion. My opinion is, instead of you addressing the lies and the deception that you have put forth out in your community, instead of you addressing that and coming to some type of amicable solution with the people who've supported you, you want to deflect attention away from yourself. Don't worry about black people and the problems that black people suffer, because apparently black people and the problems that black people suffer are not your problem, sir. You jumped up and left camp. You're not pro-black. You pro whatever put money in your pocket. And I'm not saying this to you because I think I'm any better than you. I'm just saying it to you because somebody need to speak the truth and tap you on the head and pull your coattails and yank your ear to get your attention, because apparently you are ridiculous, sir. I find you utterly ridiculous, and I absolutely find you repugnant, because the things that you say are ridiculous. You are for a black man to sit and downrate another black man without having all the facts. You, sir, are worse than any racist. You, sir, are worse than any prejudiced white oppressor. You are worse than them by far. You are sitting up here putting somebody else's business out on the air, and then you're going to have the audacity to try to make a commentation, to be a commentator, to expound on this. You know, you want to expound on it. You want to talk about it and dissect it and discuss it when you don't even have all of the information. So how can you put it in a proper context so you can expound on it? You need to address your own lies, your own deceptions, and your own misinformed beliefs and view of the world before you can address anyone else's. I am so sick and tired of people walking around acting like they have the social meter stick, that they can walk around and measure other people's love and affiliation for being black. I'm so sick and tired. I mean, before you try to judge someone, before you go sweeping around someone else's back door, take care of your own back door first. Get the leaves, the garbage, and all of the trash and stuff you got around your back door. Go on and take care of that. And don't worry about what somebody else is doing. Before you make a decision to put out something, to say something to somebody else, how about you fix what you got going on first? And then maybe at some point you can make a little, you can say a few words here and there. Because right now you're not looking too hot, my friend, and you're not looking too good. You don't look like you're standing in the right position. I don't mean sitting on your butt as you do when you be doing your little commentaries. Right now you're not standing in the right position to be giving anybody any advice. You need to fix your own problems before you try to fix other people's problems. The biggest issues that we as African Americans face is the fact that everybody want to try to downrate us, and we ourselves even want to downrate us. So how in the devil can you get on your platform and downrate someone and think that that's the way that you build us up? It is not. You look at the root of the problem. You look at the problem. What is the problem? Now, why didn't you open that discussion up to say we need to mend our relationship with our African sisters and brothers? We need to come to an understanding with one another, because every African does not accept us as their brothers and sisters. And that is the God heaven truth. Not every African person accepts African Americans as their brothers and sisters. Some African people have very negative views of us here in the United States of America. Now, I've lived my whole life proving people wrong, because you're not going to put me in a box. I don't care who you are. Nobody is going to put me in a box. I don't live according to what other people think I should live or how I should live. And I don't give a rat's patootie what people think, because I know how I grew up. I know when I was a little girl, I know who stood for me and I know who stood against me. I know who helped me and I know who didn't help me. I know who worked for me and I know who didn't work for me. I know who strived for me and I know who didn't strive for me. I know who built me up and I also know who put me down. So before anybody try to get into my situation, first of all, you need to come at me correct, because however you come at me, I'm coming at you the same way. Only I'm gonna do it I'm not gonna do it in an ugly way, but I'm gonna do it in a right way. I'm gonna come at you in a right way. You may not appreciate what I say, because I'm gonna tell you the truth, whether you want to hear it or not. Because that's just how I am. I'm not gonna kiss nobody's behind. I'm not gonna shuck and jive. I'm not gonna play the fool for nobody. I'm gonna come at you with some solid facts, and I'm gonna knock you down. I'm gonna knock you over your head and knock you down, because I don't play with people. Nobody's gonna put me in a box. What I do is I look and I observe people, I watch people, and I come up with my own conclusions, my own understanding, and my own beliefs according to what I've observed and what I've learned. And sir, you are on the verge of being completely 100% canceled, because you, sir, are offensive. You are offensive and you are wrong. You are wrong and you keep being wrong. You don't want to change. You want to keep covering up yourself instead of just coming out. I'm not even asking you for no apology. I don't think you should apologize for being married to a white woman. I mean, if that's what you want, that's what you want. Just be a man and say, this is what I want. I love my wife and I'm going to stay with my wife. And if anybody got a problem with that, too bad. But see, because you love that almighty coin, you're going to keep playing games and you're going to keep trying to cover yourself up. Remember, my friend, what's done in the dark will always come to the light. And the more you try to hide, the more will be uncovered. So instead of you trying to deflect your problems onto other black people, how about you address your issues, and then you can start using a qualified, peaceful mind to try to come to an understanding and help people in the community come to an understanding about black issues. How about that? This is the last thing that I said in my comment on the comment section. You talk about respect, but have none. You need to find truth for yourself before you point out someone else's fault. And I believe that for anyone. I believe we need to get off of these. Everybody need to get off their high horse. There is not one perfect person on this earth. If you were perfect, God would surely come and get you, because you don't belong here. There is not one perfect person on this earth. We are all flawed, and many of us are severely flawed. Nobody has the right to point the finger at the next man, as long as that person hasn't infringed upon your constitutional rights. As long as they have not harmed you or prevented you from being able to exercise your rights, we don't have a right to just be pointing a finger at people. If somebody want to live a swirled life, an interracial relationship, that's their business. Who gives a flip, you know? If somebody wants to subscribe to Black Power, good, wonderful. But before we worry about these things on the surface, like who's sleeping with who, who's marrying who, how about we focus on what caused these great divides in our communities? Because there are a lot of issues that we need to focus on. We are not digging deep for the root of the problem. We are only looking at the symptoms of the problem. We're only looking at the symptoms. Nobody's looking to see, okay, why are so many young men in the age group 20 to 25 marrying white women? Why are the young women in the age group 20 to 25 marrying white or other men? What is the commonality in these people who are deciding to flee camp? What happened? What went wrong for these people to make those decisions? These are the questions we need to ask. Why would a Black man get angry at an African man? We need to find out what happened. Is there a divide between African Americans and Africans? Why is that divide there? What can we do to solve it? And stop reporting ridiculous garbage that we know nothing about. If these people who have these big platforms would spend as much time trying to figure out solutions to trying to figure out what the root of the problem is and devising the solutions and implementing those solutions into their commentary, it may not be the full commentary, but it could be a part of it, integrate a part of the solution into your commentary so you can tell your fantastical stuff and then add the solution part in there somewhere so we can come to some kind of something. But now y'all want to sit on y'all butt and tear Black people down, and then you want to have the nerve to say you pro-Black. Please stop. I'm more pro-Black than anybody. I don't believe in tearing Black people down. I believe in building people up. I believe in building people up with mentoring, helping people, try to help them figure out what direction they're going to move in, try to help them get the mental, psychological, physical, emotional help that they need to better themselves. Because guess what? Until you root out the problem, until you find the root of the problem, you will never get to a solution, and we will always be divided. And we're not just going to be divided here in the United States. We're going to be divided anywhere we go. That was my rant. I listened to that mess. It was uploaded on October the 9th, which was yesterday, 2018. And it was on the Advice Show TV. Rude customer treat African immigrant less than human. And I just had to speak on that because guess what? I'm not going for it. If you have any comments, questions, or anything, please go ahead and, drop me a comment, drop me a question. I like I said, as you can tell, I love to talk. And I'm also gonna leave a link to this video for anyone who wants to go back and just look at it yourself, see how you feel after you listen to what I had to say. Honestly, see how you feel, because it's easy to jump on someone's bandwagon if you're not really just looking at it, with the open mind. And I'm not saying that anybody else is not open minded. I'm just saying sometimes what we hear and see it's been distorted to solicit a certain response. I don't take that. I like to know everything. I want to know everything that's going on. Don't just give me no bits and pieces. I want to know it all. Just a little bit of housekeeping. Please do not come to this page thinking you are going to thinking you're going to be disrespectful or behave in a ridiculous manner. I do not do foolishness on any level. Period, point blank, exclamation point, and always with a smiley face. Please do not come to this page thinking you're going to bash anyone over here. If I see it, you will be politely escorted out. I expect grown-ups to behave like adults, not kids. If you don't like the content, thanks for stopping by, but you are not forced to stay. So leave if you feel you need to do so. I truly thank each and every person that come over here and just stop and listen to my rants. I encourage you to leave your, comments. And I thank you so much, guys. Y'all have a blessed day and take care of each other.